All right. Today, we're going to talk about grounding with Google Maps, now available in the Gemini API. All right. This is pretty big. All right. What is happening is Google is releasing the API grounding with or paired with Google Maps. And it's available with the Gemini API, the AI API through Gemini. So, what can you actually do with this? Let's jump in, and I want to talk about this. And I'm going to show you a little app that I'm building right now just to show you how you can kind of extract or use, take advantage of the power of this. Right, let's jump into it. All right, so today I went to, let's see, blog.google technology, and I went to grounding with Google Maps, now available in the Gemini API. And it says starting today, which was a few days ago, developers will be able to use the Google Maps tool in the Gemini API to ground their apps in the rich and up-to-date geospatial data. So what does that actually mean? That you can actually, you you can ground their apps in the rich and up-to-date geospatial data from Google. That's pretty cool, right? Because when you search on Google Maps, let's just look at Google Maps here just for a second, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, you can get a bunch of information from Google Maps. Let's just say Disneyland, California. All right, let's see here. So Disneyland, look at this. You can get the name of the park, and you start opening this up. You could get the number of reviews. You can get the tickets. You can get the overview information, the about us. You can get the things nearby. You can get directions. You can get all kinds of information from Google Maps, right? And so what this is saying, grounding is saying, look, you can have access to all this information, this real-time data and information and you can integrate it into your apps. So I thought, okay, cool, let's do this. Let's try to integrate this into our app, and let's make an app on Replit to try to extract this information. And then let's see if we can actually start pairing it together with something else, right? So this is sort of the demo right here. But what I did actually is I found the API here, and let me just jump back in here real quick. So I found the API here, I found all the endpoints, and then I basically went into Chat GPT, as I do sometimes, and I described what I wanted. I basically said that I want to build an app that leverages Google's Gemini grounding API, build me an MCP server that would allow me to chat with the data, run map queries, write from chat, and synthesize and build simple reports around that information. Also, keep in mind that this data and information will be to curate. What did I say? Be to curate to ultimately use to reach out to customers and clients with this data in the form of reports, data analysis, and so forth. I also want a way to query the data and analyze the data in order to come up with on-the-fly business ideas of how to use the data to create profitable businesses, yada, 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 right? So I want it to build this app for me. Then I say I'm going to build it in Replit, so I need the architecture and so forth. And here it is. It builds out the architecture. It builds up everything I need, the endpoints, the data itself, and kind of the whole bit. And so that's the output that I got. And then what I did for fun, and I haven't done this yet, but I asked what other data sources might I integrate with these Gemini grounding data sources that would make it more interesting and more applicable to people that might be interested in this data. Can I add or enrich other data sources to it to make it even better? So I thought I'd find out. So I started asking and querying around that. Turns out there is a lot of data that I can actually add to this app to make it even stronger and even more powerful. So let's keep going. All right. So what I did initially is I went into Replit. Here's a Replit environment that I use. And I basically said, okay, let's build this app. I pasted the prompts into ChatGPT. Right now, I'm still in the design phase, so I haven't actually built anything live yet. But what I did do is I told it to build the MCP data catalog. So what this is it built an MCP server on top of the Google Gemini grounding API. And what it did is it pulled back the information that I can actually, use in my reports and in my querying and, while building my sort of intelligence platform here as I'm doing. So it looks like, available fields, the company name, customer identifier, legal business name, the NICS number, which is actually really interesting that they give you that number. number of employees, annual revenue in USD, your company was established, company website, account, active, inactive, so forth and so on. Geospatial data gives you all the location data that you could want, specific to that business. It gives you a number of things: the owner, the payment types they accept, the transactions. I don't know exactly all this stuff, right? But I'm gonna looks like my app is crashing. Okay, so it gave me all of this information back. So this is basically just the catalog of information that I can pull from this grounding API, right? And then I also built in here a chat interface to be able to chat with the data. I actually wanted to be able to chat with the data, so I'm going to build that in here. A map querying engine, so I can actually pull out businesses on the map itself, and then reports to sort of refine what this data is trying to tell me, and that I could potentially share with others. And then business ideas, like, is there any business ideas that I could generate? It's asking to generate ideas, and you could probably generate different ideas from different locations that you sort of highlight on the map, which is a pretty interesting feature that I'm looking to build out in here as well. And then there's data. The data is sort of the data management of all the different records you can pull based on the information that we've just talked about in the data catalog. So you can actually configure these different sections here. And actually, I need to build this out still, but you will be able to configure these different sections in here. And I'll show you how I can build it out here in just one sec. But then it's going to ask to do some integrations, which I may or may not use. I'll leave them for now. But let's build out this data management capability. And I'll say in the data management section, in the connected data sources, I have to give it a preview. So I'll go back in here and I'll say, okay, again, using Whisperflow, which is amazing. You should definitely check it out if you don't have it yet. All right. So in the data management section, please build a mock configuration page that would give me an idea of what the design, layout, UI, and UX would be for the configuration pages to connect the data sources. All right, so it'll probably, okay, so there's my prompt, and I put that in there. Let's see if there's anything else I want to do here real quick before I do this. View data. Oh, I'm going to add an extract button. I want to be able to extract these data sources from here. So let's say, okay, let's do that. Also, in the data management section as well, add the ability to extract the total records from the database that were mined from the data. All right, so that's on there as well. And let's see here. Okay. So you can see now I'm building my, hold on one second here. You can see now that I'm building my intelligence platform here, and I'm going to build out different ways I can use this, right? And so now let's see, there's a settings section here. I don't think I'm going to change anything right now, but I'm going to go ahead and push this prompt, and it's going to basically modify this data section here and add a bit more detail. So let's push go, and it's going to do that. It's going to start building that out. So I have right now, nothing is fully connected. I do have an API key from Gemini, so I already have that connected in here. I haven't started building yet though. And you'll see here in a moment, if I could show you this view, you'll see that it hasn't actually started building yet. Right now, it's just optimizing the memory, but it's going to ask after it finishes this design step, it's going to say, hey, do you want to keep iterating on design, or do you want to actually build the functionality? And right now, it's going to just build the design itself, because I'm sort of wireframing, which you can do. You do like real-time wireframing in AI in real time, which is really, really cool. It makes it very, very easy to start building an app and to just do it on the fly. Let me adjust this camera here. It's kind of in the way. There we go. There, that's a little bit better. All right, so let's check our prompt here. Let's see if it's good to go. It's still working. Okay, so it's still working. It's probably going to be working here for just a moment. Let's see, build app with Gemini. So there are other data sources that I could potentially integrate into this, right? Things like operational behavioral data, transactional data, let's see, geospatial data, demographic, firmographic, and geographic data. But I'm trying to think what would be useful here to integrate into the data sets. I first want to see what I can actually pull out. So I'm not going to do any integrations quite yet, maybe in the future. It's saying pull out web, social behavior. It's saying intent signals to hire for new roles, expanding capacity. Oh, this is kind of interesting. Understanding what people or companies are doing and signaling what they'll do is highly actionable for outbound outreach, business ideas and personalized reports. And it's saying like, visits to certain pages, keywords, search. Oh, that's interesting. I could potentially add some behavioral data from web and social metrics. Also, intent signals that could be interesting as well. Event data, purchase path, interesting. Okay, industry competitor market data, like that could get really interesting. Adding real estate data could be quite interesting. And I'm going to prompt it and say, are there any specific real estate APIs that might enrich this? Let's see. Enrich this data set. Let's see what it says. It should come up with a couple APIs. And while it's doing that, let's go back to back to Replit here. It looks like, okay, so it looks like it's still working. Restarted the application. All right, so that's going to take a minute. Sometimes it does take a minute. All right, so it says, yes, there are several strong real estate data APIs that could meaningfully enrich your data set, especially in the geospatial map business idea context. Here are some top picks, what they do and how they might integrate into your app. So that's cool. Strong real estate API candidates, Atom Property Data API. Okay, so it's coverage of 158 million US properties with 9,000 attributes per property, ownership, valuations, mortgage. So basically it's like property information from basically everywhere. And then it's saying how to integrate. Okay, Zillow APIs, that's pretty cool too. Okay, interesting, because Zillow APIs could get interesting, right? Home values, trends at certain zip codes, overlaid with business growth, things like that. Rent and rent indicators, when rent's going up, down, trending data like that, that could get kind of interesting as well. Tovo real estate data, interesting. Okay, so first data, what is this? Nationwide property information, record management, images. Okay. And then this is ideas on how real estate APIs could fit into your app use cases. So let's read that through in just a moment, but let's check this out. Oh, all right. So, okay. So this is done. It said build functionality or keep iterating on design. I'm going to keep iterating on design, but let's go check out what it did. So I asked it to make a way to extract. Oh, there's my extract button. Sweet. So it can extract, and then it actually lets you extract all records right here as well. And then it also should let us go into oh, sweet. Look at that. Okay. It created a mock configuration data source page. Interesting. I don't know if I really need this. Select connection type. This should all be automated. So I don't really know if I need this, but we'll leave it for now. Okay, cool. So that's looking pretty good. Pretty good. Is there a data source? Let's see. Data sources. There should be a section to add new data sources, like alternative data sources. And I'm going to add that. I'm going to say keep iterating on design. All right, keep iterating on design. And I'm going to say, let's add a section to add alternative data sources or third-party data sources to integrate into the data. All right, let's see. Let's see if it'll do that. And I'll say, as an example, we could integrate census data. Let's see what else. We could also integrate. We could also integrate real estate data and many other data types. All right, so we'll plug that. All right, so while that's going, so we got all this data. So anyway, I wanted to kind of just show you how to get started building this kind of app, and it's going to turn out it's shaping up to be pretty interesting because I'm going to try to connect all these different data sources. We'll see how it turns out, but hopefully you found this quite interesting, and I will talk to you in another few days. I'll show you how I'm building this one. I'm building several apps as we speak right now, so hopefully this is a good representation on how easy this is to build and just like have an idea and you could turn it into life and potentially ultimately turn it into a business and to an income stream. So anyway, I'm Dan. Give this a like if you like this video. Let me know how you think, and